Today, we're counting down 5 walkable cities and towns outside Seattle in Western Washington, where median rent stays under $2,200 in 2026. And number 1 is the kind of suburb many people overlook until they compare rent, sidewalks, and daily errands. For context, WalkScore rates every area here at 85 or higher, and the median rent snapshots as of May 31st, 2026, run from about 1926 to 2153. The trade-off is that suburban transit can thin out once you leave the core, so this countdown rewards places where storefronts, main corridors, and errands cluster tightly together. Number 5 is Kent. Kent lands here with median rent around $2,051 and a walk score of 85, centered around Central Avenue South and the downtown blocks nearby. Zillow's home value estimates from May 2026 put the typical home value in Kent around $657,052, which helps frame how the rental number sits inside the broader housing market. For renters focused on daily convenience, the key is not all of Kent. It is the central core, where shops, food stops, and services are close enough to string together on foot. Kent's downtown has a practical, lived-in rhythm, rather than a glossy postcard feel. Central Avenue South gives the area its spine, while the Noodle Shop Row and nearby storefronts make the walkability feel useful, not just theoretical. That matters for this topic, because a walk score in the mid-80s only helps if your regular stops are actually clustered. The honest note is that Kent is a larger city, so the walkable experience changes quickly as you move away from downtown. Number 4 is Auburn. Auburn comes in with median rent near $2,001 and a walk score of 86, with the downtown core giving it the edge over less compact South Sound options. Oddfellows Pub and Eatery is one of the recognizable anchors in that core, and the surrounding blocks give renters a more traditional small downtown pattern of restaurants, services, and cross streets. For a rent under $2,200 search, Auburn's appeal is the combination of a still-contained rent figure and a center that is easy to understand on foot. What keeps Auburn from ranking higher is not the core itself. It is the same suburban reality that shows up across much of Western Washington. Once you get outside the downtown grid, transit and walkability can fade, and the experience becomes more car-shaped. But inside the central blocks, Auburn gives you a clear place to run errands, meet someone for a meal, and stay connected to the city's main commercial area. The typical home value here is about $567,863, which is lower than several other picks. Auburn also deserves credit for having a downtown that feels distinct from the surrounding arterials. You are not just walking along a random strip of parking lots. You are moving through a city center with older commercial blocks, local restaurants, and everyday services placed close together. That distinction is important when rent is the headline, because a lower rent number by itself does not create convenience. Auburn's placement at number 4 is really about that balance: rent near $2,000, a walk score of 86, and a core that gives the suburb a defined center. Number 3 is White Center. White Center pushes closest to the $2,200 line with median rent around $2,153, but it also brings a walk score of 91. The draw is the dense food strip, led by names like Bizarro Italian Cafe, plus the compact commercial energy that makes the area feel active along its main blocks. For renters who want a suburb outside Seattle but still want short walks to food and services, White Center makes a strong case. The trade-off is right there in the number. Among these 5, White Center is the closest to the cutoff. That means it may not give you as much cushion below $2,200 as Everett, Auburn, or Kent. But the reason it still ranks in the top 3 is walkability. A 91 walk score is a major strength in a suburban search, especially when daily destinations are packed tightly along the corridor. The typical home value is about $686,195, the highest housing cost signal among the 5. White Center also has a different feel from the larger incorporated cities. It is more of a compact urban village just outside Seattle than a spread-out city with a single downtown and many outlying districts. That compactness helps explain why the walking score is so high and why the food strip plays such a large role in the area's identity. If you are evaluating rent under 2200, White Center is the pick, where the monthly number sits higher, but the walkable concentration is especially strong. Number 2 is Everett. Everett has the lowest median rent in the countdown at about $1,926, and it pairs that with a walk score of 95. Evergreen Way anchors the city's main strip, giving the area a strong commercial corridor and a steady mix of shops, services, and places to eat. When the topic is rent under 2200 in a walkable Seattle area suburb, that combination is hard to ignore. The lowest rent here, plus one of the strongest walkability scores. Everett is also a reminder that the Seattle suburb search does not stop at the places directly bordering Seattle. Some renters look north because the rent math changes while the city still has a defined commercial structure. The typical home value in Everett is about $558,951, which is also the lowest home value figure among these 5. That gives Everett a notable cost profile across both renting and buying signals, without needing to leave the walkability conversation behind. The caution with Everett is geography. Like Kent and Auburn, Everett is not one tiny walkable bubble. It is a full city, and the experience depends heavily on where you land. Evergreen Way gives the ranking its backbone, but renters should still look closely at the exact block, nearby crossings, and how many daily errands sit within a comfortable walk. That said, number 2 is well-earned because Everett combines the lowest median rent with a 95 walk score, which is the rare pairing this countdown is built around. And number 1 is Renton. Renton takes the top spot with median rent around $2,117 and a walk score of 95, matching the highest walkability mark in the countdown. Northeast Sunset Boulevard is the main corridor called out here, giving the area a clear commercial spine for errands, services, and everyday movement. Renton does not have the lowest rent, but it wins on the overall balance of the sub-2200 median and top-tier walkability outside Seattle. What makes Renton interesting is that it can be easy to underestimate if you only think of it as a place people drive through between larger job centers and highways. But for this ranking, the focus is narrower. Rent under 2200, strong walkability, and a corridor that supports daily errands. The typical home value in Renton is about $609,558, placing it below Kent and White Center, but above Auburn and Everett. That middle housing cost signal, paired with the 95 walk score, helps explain why it rises above the field. Renton also benefits from having multiple identities, but this countdown rewards the parts where the walking pattern is strongest. Northeast Sunset Boulevard gives renters a practical reference point, and the surrounding commercial activity helps turn a high walk score into something you can actually use. The rent is closer to the upper end than Everett or Auburn, so it is not the lowest cost pick. Still, with median rent around $2,117 and the top walkability score, Renton earns the number 1 spot for 2026. So the countdown is Kent, Auburn, White Center, Everett, and Renton. The common thread is simple. Each one keeps median rent under 2200 while still giving you a real walkable core. Every number in this video is sourced. The links are in the description. Which neighborhood would have made your top 5? If this helped, tap like and subscribe, and tell me what Seattle suburb ranking you want next.